going to start with the Elite FTS combo rack, which is the most expensive option that we have here as far as combo rack goes. So as with all combo racks, you can remove the bench in order to be able to set it up for squats. One nice thing about when you do that is there's actually like little knobs on the uprights, so you can actually bring the arms inwards. It's really easy to put on back and forth the bench. There's also wheels on the bench, which are really cool, so you can kind of like pull it out and then just kind of like move it real quick. It's really nice for transportation, and it's also really nice for not damaging the floor when you're kind of moving the bench around. It also comes with numbers on the uprights for all the little holes, which is really nice, so you can kind of tell what your height is, especially if you're working in with somebody. The pins themselves are actually very thick and very solid, and all the steel is very thick, solid, well made, so it's not too beefy, but it's also not too light. So it's perfect for something where if you need to transport it, it's still very doable. But if you need to leave it at the gym, it's still gonna hold up very well and not move or have a lot of wiggle room. Now, as far as some of the pros about the Elite FTS combo rack that I really personally enjoy, like I said, it's not too beefy, but it's not too light. It's right in the middle, so it's just perfect in that sense. When it was brand new, it's just absolutely beautiful, and it still has held up very, very well, which is great. Another thing that I really like is that it's customizable. So if you go ahead and you order from them, you can actually ask for it to be customized, so you can have your logo on it, kind of like I did with mine. Another big thing that I really like are the fact that the pins are really thick, because it just feels a lot better. It doesn't feel so flimsy. Same thing with the steel. It just feels really, really tight, really solid, like it's not going to move around very much. So those are all some of the really big things that I like about the Elite FTS combo rack. It's just a really solid overall piece, and you can't go wrong with it. Now, some of the negatives, so some of the cons about the Elite FTS combo rack is, number one, the price point is just a little bit higher from what I recall. I'll try to find the numbers, but it was a little bit more expensive than the Rogue combo rack. Not by a lot, but what kind of hurts a little bit is the shipping, because they have to ship the freight, and then it comes as like one big, huge piece. So that kind of costs a little bit of money to be able to send. The other con is that even though I said it's not too light, too heavy, it still kind of sucks to have to move it if you have to move it for competitions. So I would prefer to move one of the lighter ones if I had to, or if I had a choice. Other con, with the J-cups on the squats, they're about maybe like an inch thick or more, so it's something that I kind of have a hard time with, like when we're setting up for rack heights at competitions, because you almost have to set it one lower, so you have to like take that into account when you're standing up and when you're moving. So that's another thing that I kind of don't like about the combo rack. Kind of my conclusion is I would highly recommend it, especially if you're looking for something that's going to last you a very long time, and something that's going to be a solid piece that you can move around, or you can go ahead and keep at home or keep at your gym. Alright, so now we're going to go over the Rogue combo rack. So the Rogue combo rack is probably my absolute favorite combo rack. It's just an absolute tank. It's very, very solid. This thing is like basically indestructible. If you have any of their power racks, you'll know what I mean. But this thing just does not budge, and it has a lot of great features that kind of come along with it. So in terms of like details like knobs and settings and that sort of thing, it probably has the most detail than any other combo rack. Literally there's a knob and setting for everything, so if you really want to tighten every single part up of the combo rack, you can. It's extremely stable. This is the only one that does not wobble whatsoever. So the pros, like I said, it's absolutely beefy, it's a monster, absolutely love it. Like highly, highly, highly recommend. I also like that it's got like the laser cut numbers. The pins are just monsters. You could also still like put the like arms in or out if you want to. The bench feels really good, really solid. The safeties, the face savers are really awesome. And another cool feature too is it's actually got little holes at the bottom, kind of like you would find on a power rack. So you can actually put like bands if you want, which is a really nice feature that I haven't really seen in any other combo racks. So that's pretty cool as well. And then in terms of like price point, it's pretty affordable. It's about $2,500, which is not too expensive, but it's not too cheap either. And then the shipping is awesome because even though it comes on a pallet, it still comes in boxes. So from what I recall, the shipping wasn't very expensive, and they're very, very quick as well, depending on what they're looking at for like supply and demand. So I really highly recommend them. And obviously, Rogue customer service is always the best when it comes to things. Elite FTS customer service is also really, really great. That's something I forgot to mention. But on the cons list, something that I would say that is kind of a good thing can also be a bad thing. So the fact that it's so heavy is also what kind of makes it a bad thing, because you don't really want to be moving this thing from meet to meet. You can take it apart, but it's just really freaking heavy. And then for example, on the other one with the bench, I said you can kind of like, get the bench out by yourself. On this one, typically you might want the help of another person to take it out because it can be pretty heavy and pretty hard. The other thing too is with the fact that it's more of a fat pad, it's not necessarily like, I'm pretty sure it's still built to competition, what do you call it, qualifications or dimensions, but a lot of people don't like the fat pad. It's just too thick, it gets too much room to like sink in, so a lot of people don't really appreciate that. So that is something that I would take into account if you're looking at buying it. And from what I understand or from what I've seen or know, I don't think there's any other options to be able to get like different like bench padding options either. So that's definitely something to think about. All right, so the last combo rack that I'm going to go over is the state-of-the-art combo rack. This is made by a friend of mine, Zachary Gillard, over in New York. So as far as the state-of-the-art combo rack goes, I would compare it to kind of what, if you're familiar with a more Texas combo rack, it's definitely one of the absolute best combo racks in terms of value. You're not like paying a crazy amount of money for a combo rack, and you're getting a really good quality piece for the price that you're paying. So as far as the combo rack itself goes, it basically has all the same features as the other ones in terms of being able to take out the bench, being able to adjust with the lever, and realistically, if you're just looking for something that works and that is going to get the job done in a good, solid, quality way, then I would highly recommend the state-of-the-art combo rack. So as far as pros, like I kind of mentioned, it's a great price point. It's worth it. It's also, for me as a meet director, super important the fact that I can move it around super easy. It's really easily transportable. It comes apart. It's not super heavy. It's not crazy to try to move around like the other ones. The other ones are a real pain to move. These are super easy. You can get it in and out super quick. So that's definitely another pro. And then I really also like the bench on it. I probably prefer the bench padding on this one the best out of all three of my combo racks. So I love benching on this one, and I love like just how solid it feels and how grippy the bench on it is. And I've had it for a few years now as well, and this one, the padding on it doesn't seem to really kind of wear down. So it's a really good bench. Some cons with it is, basically because it is more lighter and easily to kind of move around. That's also can be a bad thing, because you're going to have a rack that kind of tends to move around a little bit more, has more wiggle room, it can kind of like push a little bit more than the other ones. So that's definitely something to take into account if you want something that's just more solid and grounded to the floor. The other thing I personally don't like are just like the pins are just a little bit too small. So it's kind of hard to like put the pins where you need to, but that's just a personal thing with me. Let's see, where you stand to kind of like bring out the bench. It's also for me a little too close to the person's head, but once again, that's something that, you know, it's just personal preference, so that's not like a make or break sort of thing. But overall, like, it's a really solid piece for the price. So once again, if you're looking for something that's just going to get the job done, like, definitely look at the state of the art, because you're going to get a really solid piece for that price as well. Alright, so if you're shopping around for a combo rack, hopefully this vlog helped a little bit in being able to make a better decision as to what would fit you best, whether it's for the home, for a gym, or for a competition. Definitely, I hope this helps give you a little bit of insight. And if you like the video, please leave a comment, drop a like, ask any questions. I try to make myself very available, so if you have any more specific questions, I'll definitely be able to answer them. Thank you.